Welcome you all to the video on Hilbert transform. So in this particular video, we are going to look at what is Hilbert transform, what is the necessity of using this Hilbert transform, and we will find few examples of finding out the Hilbert transform of a signal. So coming to this Hilbert transform, unlike the other transformations that we have studied so far, whether it might be a Fourier transform or a Laplace transform, so each one of these transforms are going to change the signal representation from its time representation to its frequency representation. That means the spectral component of the signal is resolved in the Fourier representation or in the Laplace, or if it is a discrete time signal, then we are going to make use of Z transform to do the same. Whereas this Hilbert transform, unlike the other transforms that we have known, will not change the domain of the signal. Rather, the signal, assume that a signal is x of t. If we are taking the Hilbert transform of this particular signal, the transformed signal will also remain in the same domain as that of your original signal. Only thing is, the signal gets modified in its characteristics. So let us see what is meant by this transformation and why it is important. So as a Hilbert transform, it is strictly not a transform in itself. Rather, Hilbert transform is not in equivalent, it is not the equivalent of the original signal. Rather, it's a completely different signal. That means the characteristic of the signal x of t is varied to obtain another modified signal which is called as x cap of t. So this modification is nothing but it is varied in terms of modification is brought in by varied in variation in, we can write this modified x cap of t is nothing but the signal which is varied from x of t in its phase, so the x cap of t or the Hilbert transform signal will be in the same time domain, but its phase component or its phase nature will be completely different from that of the original signal x of t. So let us see why this is important. The Hilbert transform is mainly used to remove the redundant negative frequency which will come in as a result of Fourier transform representation. So when we know that when we apply, let's suppose we have a cosine signal. So when we have a cosine signal represented as cos omega naught t. So if this is the cos in time domain, if we are going to obtain its Fourier representation, we know that it consists of two sinus or two delta functions which are present at one at omega minus omega naught, and the other one is located at plus omega naught if this is a omega scale. So this is the representation of the cosine signal, which is actually a real signal, and it consists of a positive frequency. Whereas that means this negative frequency is coming as a resultant of the only the extra information that we have, which is the replication of the same on the negative frequencies. But it will, in the practical scenarios, this negative frequency cannot be visualized nor it can be produced. So therefore, this information which is coming out as a Fourier in the Fourier transform will consist of a negative frequency, which will in turn will not convey anything in the analysis process. So therefore we are trying to reduce that and only retain the positive frequency components for the analysis purpose of the signal. So how this is done? An analytical signal is represented such that a signal can be represented as in its real and imaginary part. Any signal z of t can be represented as z, the real part of z, plus j into imaginary part of the signal z. So this, by doing so, by keeping only the positive frequency, we preserve the spectral content of the original valued signal. the analytical signal preserves the spectral content. What is meant by spectral content? It is the upon the frequency domain, whatever the content of your original signal is present, that is kept intact while we do this Hilbert transform. So let us look at how this has been achieved. We have seen that the Hilbert transform of a signal g of t can be represented as, or in this scenario we can also consider m of t, which we have used in the class. The Hilbert transform of the signal m of t is written as m cap of t, where we wrote the representation as 1 over pi integral from minus infinity to plus infinity m of tau divided by t minus tau into d tau. This representation is nothing but we are trying to convolve the message signal m of t with a function which is 1 over pi t, where if you take the Fourier representation of 1 over pi t, it will actually result in a function called as signum of f, minus j into signum of f. So how does that is known? This is what we represented as a spectral component of the Hilbert transformed signal. So Hilbert transformed signal is m cap of t. If we are going to take this Fourier representation of this Hilbert transformed signal, then we are going to get minus j into signum of f into the transform of the original signal m of f. So how that is there? You can see over here the Hilbert transform of g of t is nothing but the convolution of the signal g of t with 1 over pi t, and its resultant, if you write it in integral form, if you write the convolution in its integral form, you are going to get this expression. So it is nothing but, so this Hilbert transform is visualized as a filter, or it is also a wideband filter, you can say, where when you pass on the signal into a system with this transform function, you're going to get s cap of t, which is nothing but the s of t convolved with the Hilbert transform function, which is 1 over pi t. So if you take the Fourier representation, so how to find out the Fourier transform of a signal? H of f is equal to this is the time response. So frequency response would be similarly minus infinity to plus infinity h of t into e to the power minus j omega t dt. So this is the Fourier representation that you are going in place of h of t. If we substitute 1 over pi t, we are going to get, that is signum function of time t is equal to 2 over j omega, which is 1 over j pi f. Therefore, if you take it using the duality property, if you replace f by t, then you are going to get on the right hand side, that is signum of minus f, which is nothing but minus signum of f. So here j is not present, so therefore cross multiplying the j, you are going to get minus j into signum of f is the Fourier transform of 1 over pi t. So since this particular Fourier representation is a spectral representation of the Hilbert transform, its time representation would be just 1 over pi t. Now using this, we have also seen the representation of the Hilbert transform, the spectral component of the Hilbert transform in magnitude, as a magnitude response as well as the phase response. So we can write this as the magnitude response, which is going to be a constant value 1 for all the frequency f, whether it is a negative frequency or a positive frequency, the magnitude of the function remains constant, whereas in the phase spectrum you can see that the phase of the signal is going to be plus pi by 2 or plus 90 degree for the negative frequencies, and it is going to be minus 90 degrees for positive frequencies. So when we write this, we are not writing in terms of omega, rather we are writing in terms of frequency f. So please remember that. So therefore, Hilbert transform of a signal x of t is x cap of t whose frequency components lag the frequency component of x of t by 90 degree. So x cap of t has the same frequency components present in x of t with the same amplitude, except there is a 90 degree phase delay. So this is the introduction about the Hilbert transform. So if we look at the delay, like if we are going to represent e to the power j omega naught will become after the delay of pi by 2, you are going to get it as minus j into e to the power j 2 pi f naught into t. If we are going to have e to the power minus j 2 pi f naught into t will become, after the Hilbert transformation, which is the delay of pi by 2, we are going to get j into e to the power j 2 pi f naught into t. That is, positive frequencies will have a spectrum minus j and the negative frequencies will be multiplied by plus j. So this is the representation. This is what assume that x of t has no DC component. In that case, we get the Fourier representation of the Hilbert transform signal x cap of t can be written as minus j into signum of f into x of f. We know that the Fourier inverse of minus j into signum of f is equal to 1 by pi t. Therefore, x cap of t is equal to 1 by pi t convolved with x of t. So this is the Hilbert transform. This is written all over again. So now let us take up one example of how to find out the Hilbert transform of the signal e to the power jt. So let us see how to do this. To begin with, we shall write the x of t is given as an input to Hilbert transformer. This is the system with the function h of t is equal to 1 by pi t. We are going to feed in x of t, which is e to the power jt. We need to obtain what is this y of t is. So to find out y of t, instead of what is y of t in time domain, it is x of t convolved with h of t. So instead of doing this process in time domain, after applying the Fourier transform, we can write this as y of f is equal to x of f multiplied by, so I'll just write a dot to represent the multiplication process, x of f multiplied by h of f. So this is how we are going to, the convolution in time domain is represented as the multiplication in frequency domain. So using this analysis, now we shall see how to do the Hilbert transform of a given signal. So we are going to first convert all the available signals into their Fourier equivalent. So we know what is x of t. So let us try to find out what is the Fourier representation of the signal x of t. That is x of f integral from minus infinity to plus infinity x of t into e to the power minus j omega t dt. So if we do this process, when we are substituting, we can write this as minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power j t into e to the power minus j omega t dt. So this can be written as, I will write this in the form of something like this for my convenience. I'll tell you why we are doing this modification. E to the power jt, I am writing this as e to the power j 2 pi into 1 over 2 pi, which will still make the powers same, into t into e to the power minus j omega t dt. So if this is a scenario, we know that the signal x of t, if it is of the form e to the power plus j omega naught t, the Fourier transform for this is given as x of f is equal to delta into f minus f naught, where f naught is equal to omega naught by 2 pi, where f naught is equal to omega naught by 2 pi. So in place of f naught, we have 1 by 2 pi over here. So therefore, the Fourier transform of the given signal x of t is equal to e to the power jt is nothing but x of f which is equal to delta into f minus 1 by 2 pi. How we are writing this? Comparing this expression like x of t in this case, let me write this as another signal. Instead of f, I will take this as some function called z of t. Z of t is equal to e to the power j omega naught t. So z of f is equal to delta of f minus f naught. Of course, there will be a scaling function over here. This is 2 pi into delta f minus f naught. So keeping that in mind, where f naught is equal to omega into omega naught, z of f expression comes out to be e to the power plus j 2 pi into f naught into e to the power minus j omega t dt. So when we write this is the expression that we are going to get. So applying the same formula over here, we are going to get x of f is equal to 2 pi into delta of f minus 1 by 2 pi. And of course, the Fourier transform of the Hilbert transform is already known, which is minus j signum of f. So using the above two equation, the y of f can be just obtained by mere multiplication of the two Fourier representations, which is like this. So first let us try to plot how does this delta function will look like. If you are going to plot it on the frequency domain, the x of f will resemble a simple stick function or the impulse function at f is equal to 1 over 2 pi with an amplitude equal to 2 pi. Whereas the h of f, if you are going to plot it for all the frequencies, you will see for the positive frequencies the value will be plus pi by 2, and for the negative frequencies the amplitude will be plus pi by 2, and for the positive frequencies the amplitude is going to be minus pi by 2, which can be written as something like this. That is in the phase representation. So the function as such can be written as plus j for all the positive frequencies and minus j for all the negative frequencies. So this can be represented like this. Now we are going to multiply these two frequency spectrums. So what do we get? There is no frequency component on the left hand side, so this multiplication is going to be 0. So the resultant y of f, the spectrum is going to be something like this. We will have f. So here you can see the x of f is going to have a positive amplitude with 2 pi, which is going to be reversed now with an amplitude minus j into 2 pi at the same frequency 1 by 2 pi. So you can obtain, so y of f can now be written as minus j, the scaling factor is minus j into 2 pi delta of f minus 1 by 2 pi. Now how to obtain this time representation? Let us consider by applying, to obtain the y of t, the time representation, we have to find out the inverse Fourier transform. So by applying the inverse Fourier transform, we are going to obtain y of t, which is nothing but obtained by 1 over 2 pi integral from minus infinity to plus infinity y of f into e to the power j omega t into d omega. So if we are going to apply this is 1 by 2 pi integral from minus infinity to plus infinity minus j 2 pi into delta of f minus 1 by 2 w plus e to the power 2 pi f into t into d omega. For my convenience, I am writing this omega in terms of f. So what I will do here is this 2 pi and this 2 pi is going to get cancelled. This particular integral will only exist for a value of f equal to 1 by 2w. So therefore, the entire integration will boil down to a common one single point where f is equal to 1 by 2 pi. So the resultant is going to be minus j into e to the power j 2 pi. In place of f, you are going to replace it with 1 by 2 pi into t. So this results in minus j into e to the power jt. So therefore we can say that the Hilbert transform, this I'll write it as y of t, okay, y of t itself. So the Hilbert transform of the signal x of t, which is e to the power jt, the Hilbert representation after Hilbert transform, we are going to get its modified version, which is called as y of t, or you can also represent it as x cap of t is nothing but minus j into e to the power jt, where minus j also represents the phase lag by phase lag by 90 degree or phase shifted by minus 90 degree. So this is a simple example of e to the power jt. Similarly, we can also perform the similar kind of an analysis for x of t is equal to e to the power minus jt. Now, let us see what is the Hilbert transform for another signal called as cos 2 pi fct. So far we have seen in the modulation techniques, sometimes we might have come across monotone signals as a message signal. So if in that case, here we have taken simply fc as the frequency. If you just replace it with fm, then you are going to get the Hilbert transform of your message signal. So let us see how this is going to work out. So we are going to do the similar analysis where the m of t is fed into the system, the Hilbert transform system, which is going to give us a modified version of the message signal obtained by m of t convolved with h of t, where h of t is nothing but 1 by pi t. So now we will apply the Fourier representation or Fourier transform. So this is going to be m cap of f is equal to m of f multiplied by j into signum of f. I am writing it directly over here because we already know the Fourier transform for 1 over pi t. So we will see now. So here in this case, m of t will have a Fourier representation given by m of f. The given function m of t is cos 2 pi fct. The Fourier representation of cos, we already know it is half into delta f minus fc plus delta f plus fc. This representation we are already aware of. Plotting the spectrum of this, we can see that it is in the frequency domain, the m of f is given by two impulse signals located at plus fc and minus fc. This we have been writing with an amplitude of half. So this is f plus fc, sorry, this is f minus fc, and this one is f plus fc component that we have plotted. Okay, now we will see, we will obtain the let us plot the h of f also. H of f is provided by plus at fc, we are going to have a signum function with j pi by 2 for the negative frequencies and minus j plus j for negative frequencies and minus j for the positive frequencies. Multiplying these two, we are going to obtain the spectrum as the resultant spectrum of m cap of f is what I'm plotting over here. Multiplying this negative minus fc with the Hilbert transform, we are going to get, it will still have the same position, that is a positive amplitude with half into plus j. This is m cap of f, whereas this spectrum at plus fc will have a negative frequency, with an amplitude minus j by 2 at fc. So this is the resultant spectrum that we are going to get. This we are going to slightly modify for our convenience. We can write the same spectrum of minus j by 2 as 1 over 2j. So therefore we are going to have the positive amplitude. This is only done to our convenience. That means at FC, instead of writing it as minus j by 2, we are going to equivalently write this as 1 over 2j. This obviously means minus j by 2. Why? Because multiplying and dividing it by j, we are going to get this as j square is minus 1, so it is going to be minus 2, which gives us the same result. So therefore we can conveniently write minus j by 2 as 1 over 2j. So therefore we are going to write the spectrum at FC as 1 over 2j into delta of f minus fc. Similarly, at minus fc, it is going to be minus 1 by 2j into delta of f plus fc. So this is the impulse at minus fc. So therefore m cap of f is written as 1 by 2j into delta of f minus fc minus 1 by 2j into delta of f plus fc. This is the spectral component, which in turn can be written as, by taking a common factor, 1 over 2j into delta of f minus fc minus of delta f plus fc. We know that the components, when you take the inverse Fourier transform of the above expression, we are going to get 1 by 2j. By shifting property, we can say that the inverse Fourier transform of delta f minus fc is nothing but it is e to the power j 2 pi, by shifting property, e to the power j 2 pi fc into t is going to be delta f minus fc, that we know already. So therefore we can conveniently write this as e to the power j 2 pi fct, and this one as minus e to the power minus j 2 pi fct. Therefore this is nothing but, this component is of the form, where we can write this as e to the power jx minus e to the power minus jx divided by 2j is nothing but sine of here x. So it is of this form. Therefore we can conveniently write this as sine 2 pi fc into t. So by this we can see that the cos 2 pi fct, if you are going to find out the Hilbert transform of this signal, is nothing but sine 2 pi fct. This is because since cos 2 pi fct minus pi by 2 is nothing but sine 2 pi fct. So it is the same delay of, or the phase lag of 90 degree of cos signal will result in a sine signal with the same frequency. The spectral component remains the same. Only thing is it is phase lagged by 90 degree. So this is about the Hilbert transform. The purpose of finding out the Hilbert transform again is for the reason that we are trying to suppress the negative frequencies but still keeping the information of the signal intact with respect to its magnitude. Therefore, with the properties of the Hilbert transform, if you look at, the energy of the signal that you are trying to modify will remain intact during the process of the Hilbert transform. So we are just only going to obtain the positive frequencies of a given signal. So this is it about the Hilbert transform. Thank you for watching this video.